Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? Gilberto Torres Jr. with Torres Boxing, and I hope you're having a great Sunday, guys. Yesterday night, we witnessed history. The great Manny Pacquiao defeating a prime welterweight in Keith Thurman, and what an impressive performance. First of all, props to both fighters. Props to Manny Pacquiao. Props to Keith Thurman. These two went at it. They put on a great fight. Keith Thurman... there was a little bit of doubt as to if he was really going to stand and trade with Pacquiao. And, he did use his legs for moments in that fight. It wasn't something that he just continued to stay on his bicycle all night long. He actually did get close and confront Pacquiao, and it provided for some great action. And Manny Pacquiao, guys, 40 years of age. I've said it before. This man is an all-time great. The fight ends real quick. I want to go ahead and just note the scorecards, guys. So Manny Pacquiao wins by split decision. When the fight ended, I was like, man, what's gonna happen? Because in my heart, I was like, man, I really hope we don't get a draw, because the draw means that we have to, I'm not saying it was a bad fight at all. No, on the contrary, this is a great fight, but I really wanted to have a definitive winner after the 12 rounds. And so when they said we got a split decision, I was like, man, this is going to be really close. And so Manny Pacquiao got the nod. Two judges scored it in favor of Pacquiao, 115-112, and one judge had it for Thurman, 114-113. But from the get-go, this fight was all Pacquiao. And, I just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Let's go ahead and look at some of the punch stats real quick, guys. So, final punch stats for this one, guys. Total punches landed. Manny Pacquiao lands 195 of his 686 punches thrown. That's 28.4% of his punches connecting. And Thurman actually outpointed him, connecting with more shots overall, 210 out of 571. That's 36.8. But of course, Manny Pacquiao, the busier fighter, stayed busy there, averaging about 57 punches thrown per round compared to Keith Thurman's 48. So the activity level there, even though he wasn't throwing the most punches, but Pacquiao was more busy throughout the fight. Total jabs, that's where Pacquiao actually beats Thurman. He scored 81 out of his 346 punches, 23.7% connecting, whereas Thurman wasn't as busy with the jab, only connecting with 18 out of 128. That's a 14.1% connect rate. And here's the interesting stat for me, guys. That's the power punches. The power punches right here from both fighters. Manny Pacquiao connected with 113 out of 340 punches, power punches thrown. That's a pretty solid 33.2%. But the interesting stat here is that Keith Thurman connected with 192 out of the 443 power punches that he threw, and that's 43.3%. 192 connected power punches. One interesting fact was that this is the most power punches that have connected on Pacquiao in the 43 fights that have been recorded by CompuBox numbers. So that's something to look at. I'm not sure, maybe I'm overthinking it, but when I see that Pacquiao was connected with more on power punches, for me there might be a little bit of concern. He's getting older. You don't want him to take it in, you don't want this to be the beginning of him absorbing more damage because of his age, because he's older. He can't really defend himself like he used to. I'm not sure if that's really necessarily the case. Maybe Thurman is an exceptional fighter. He did do a great job. He stood in there. He fought hard. But this is kind of a new thing right here, where Pacquiao absorbed more power punches in the 43 total fights of that have been recorded by CompuBox. So that's an interesting fact. Is Pacquiao getting hit a little bit more now? Is this going to be something that if he continues to fight, is this going to be a trend? Is Pacquiao going to be connected more? Is he susceptible to get hit more? I'm not sure. Of course, it's one fight, but the fact that it's the first fight that he got outlanded on power punches, the most power punches that have been landed on him in 43 fights. I think that is a pretty interesting tidbit there. Well, hopefully it doesn't mean much. Hopefully it's just he can keep that defense up and keep evading the majority of those punches, because these are heavy hands. After the fight, Pacquiao even acknowledged that, and he told Keith Thurman, hey, this guy is a heavy hitter. This guy has a heavy hand. And so when they asked him, hey, what do you compare his power to, Pacquiao actually said that he compares it to Antonio Margarito's. And if you all remember, Antonio Margarito was completely dominated in that fight, but there was a round there, the 6th round, where Antonio Margarito had Pacquiao against the ropes and let his hands go to the body, and Pacquiao won. But in the post-fight, he aftermath of everything, he did say that he was actually peeing blood, and that's how much damage those punches had on him. So the fact that that he's comparing Thurman's power to Margarito is pretty telling of Thurman's power. After the fight, everything was winding down. I saw both men. Both men were kind of shaken up a little bit, but more so a little bit with Pacquiao. Maybe it was just the coming off down from the adrenaline rush, kind of settling back in. He was just in a grueling 12-round fight, but you can definitely see that he was definitely in a fight. It wasn't a fight like the previous two with Lucas Matisse, Adrian Broner, where everything, he didn't really have any resistance from his opponent. This was a legit fight he was involved in, and it showed after the fight. Thurman, his face displayed more of the punishment from the fight. He was definitely tagged by Pacquiao. He was the one who looked the most roughed up. Pacquiao, he didn't have as many bruises or cuts or anything like that, but you can definitely tell that he had gone through a fight. I think a little bit of swelling around his face, but nothing too significant. But you could definitely tell both of these guys went at it, and just mad respect to both fighters. Manny Pacquiao, I think it's really, really impressive, the fact that coming into this fight, a lot of people were doubting him. A lot of people were saying this is it, this is the fight where all this is going to end for Pacquiao. He shouldn't be fighting anymore. And hey, to be honest with you, I'm going to share the sentiment of that. I don't want to see him fight anymore. Why? Because he's done it all. You get emotionally invested in fighters, and Pacquiao is one of them that I've been watching for years now. And he's not in his prime. Not to say he's not a shot fighter. He's not a faded fighter whatsoever. But he's 40 years old. He's done it all. There's nothing left for him to prove, and I would hate for them to try and put him in there with a Spence or Crawford. Not saying that he's not capable of beating them, because Pacquiao has shown that he has gas left in the tank, but you really don't want to see him go through those battles anymore, because really there's no need to. So I share that sentiment that I would much rather have him retire, either that or face Mayweather, then retire, because that would give him a chance for revenge. And not only that, but it would probably give him the biggest payday compared to any payday with Thurman, Crawford, or Spence. And then he can ride off into the sunset, after a legendary, illustrious career. But he seems a little bit reluctant to want to even consider retirement. So we'll see what's next. But like I said, a lot of doubt coming into this fight from naysayers, saying that Pacquiao was done, that those performances against Broner and Matisse were nothing more than a mirage, that they were just not really telling of what's left of Pacquiao, that they didn't punch back, so it's easy for Pacquiao to look good. And here's what Pacquiao wanted to do. He said he wanted to prove something. He wanted to prove something, and I think he did. He proved that he can still go, that he has plenty left in the tank, that he's still a great fighter at the age of 40. And with this win, Pacquiao consolidates the WBA crown, combining the regular and capturing the super title that Thurman brought in out. Manny Pacquiao is a world champion. And another interesting fact for you guys, he is the oldest welterweight world champion in boxing history. Manny Pacquiao, he's an all-time great. And these are the sort of fights right now at this stage of his career where, like I said, he doesn't need them. But this fight in particular is done and over with. And so these sort of fights right now, when Pacquiao is back in it against an elite welterweight like Keith Thurman is, and he beats him, it's not necessarily about moving the needle on the current pound for pound rankings. It's more about moving the needle on all-time pound for pound rankings. And I think this is, I think, I know that we're witnessing a great fighter, a generational fighter in boxing history, arguably one of the greatest of all times. I don't want to get into the debate of who is the number one GOAT, or the GOAT of everything, but he's definitely up there, and for him to do something like this at 40, 24 years into his career, and capture a world title, it's just really exceptional, guys. So Keith Thurman, on the other hand, was very humble after the fight, giving Manny Pacquiao respect, saying, hey, he did beat me. He even said that, hey, he knew because Manny Pacquiao knocked him down in the first round. In the opening round, Manny Pacquiao was able to land a beautiful jab and a straight left to the body, followed up with what looks like a right cross, right jab, and he's the same move that he used on Miguel Cotto 10 years ago that took Miguel Cotto down, took him off balance. This is the same move that last night also knocked down Keith Thurman, something that startled Keith Thurman. It stunned him. He wasn't hurt or anything, but you could see in Thurman's face, like, dang, like, if he underestimated Pacquiao, he realized right then and there that was not going to be a good move. Pacquiao's a serious threat right now. And again, in the 10th round, Manny Pacquiao landed a vicious left hook to the body that really hurt Keith Thurman, and that's, Keith Thurman acknowledged that, hey, after that it was pretty kind of hard, to sway the judges in my favor. So, props to Keith Thurman for also being respectful. Prior to the fight, he said a lot of negative things towards Pacquiao, but in the end, you're glad to see that both fighters are all right, and that Keith Thurman is being really respectful towards the legend. So yeah, Keith Thurman had some great spots in there. He landed some big power shots in there that you got nervous, you got concerned, you thought that it was going to be the beginning of the end. He had Pacquiao against the ropes a couple times and started to let his hands go, but Pacquiao, 24 years of experience, helps him. Like I said before, he meshes his experience now with the physical attributes that he still possesses, and he's able to be a very smart fighter now. He's in there, and he knows how to navigate those deep waters and use whatever he has left, to really make things happen for him. So exceptional, great fight last night. The way that Thurman fought, even though he lost, he gave a good account of himself, show that he can hang in there, and there's no shame in losing to a great fighter, a legendary fighter like Manny Pacquiao. None at all. This is just a great fighter that he just lost to, and I know that Thurman will be back. It depends on how his mentality is, how his attitude is after he gets back up. But defeats aren't the be-all end-all. You fall, but you can get back up. So I do expect Thurman to reevaluate things, get back into it, and if he wants to continue fighting, I'm sure he can bounce back from this defeat. Pacquiao, again, a little bit reluctant on even considering retirement, but I would hope that's the route. To be honest with you, with all due respect, love Manny Pacquiao, as a fighter. He's a great guy, very humble, and he's done it all in the sport. And when he's done it all, I know that you can still make money. I know that you can still fight, but at the same time, we have to also just keep that in our minds that, hey, how long can you keep going? How long can you keep looking good? We'll see what happens, guys. But aside from that, great fight between two great fighters, and respect to both of them. Congratulations to Manny Pacquiao for scoring the split decision victory, although in my honest opinion I felt like it was a little bit wider, but Thurman gave a good account of himself and had some pretty solid rounds on there. So let me know what you guys think, guys. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section. Subscribe if you enjoy this content. Go ahead and hit that bell icon to receive receive notifications. My son tells me to always hit the bell icon when you subscribe and give it a like. So guys, till next time, God bless you and have a great rest of your day.